Okay, for our next box, we are going to take this three-dimensional shape right here, and we are going to do an orthographic drawing of it. Basically, we're going to draw the top, front, and right side of the object. So the top, the front, and the right side, fitting in these three areas: top, front, right side. When we do this, I want to show you ahead of time what this image is going to look like when it's completed. And then we'll go back, we'll backtrack a little bit, and we'll see how we got there. But if you look, this represents the front view of the object, showing length and height. This is the top view of the object, showing depth and length. And then this is the right side of the object, showing height and depth. So we've taken a three-dimensional object and we've put it on a flat sheet of paper having only 2 dimensions. Basically, this is called an orthographic drawing. So we're going to start with the paper that you broke up into 4 boxes. I believe you have yours labeled top, front, and right side. I'm going to just work from this, and I'm going to start by blocking in the views. Basically, I am going to get a rectangle that will fit this shape. So remember, we're using our sketching techniques. We want to be as neat as we can be, and so I'm going to try to use this box, this lower left-hand corner right here. This is going to be for the front view. The front view always goes in the lower left-hand corner. And so I'm just going to kind of sketch, picking up my pencil as I go, and come up with just a rectangle that will fit this object. Now we're just talking about proportion here. It's obviously not actual size of the image, but this is going to be the rectangle that is going to fit this shape. From this view right here, I actually know 2 pieces of information. I know the length of the top view, so I'm going to project these lines up, construction lines, very light. And I'm going to project the lines over. This is the height. And so now I need some more information. I do know how long the object is, and I know the height of the object, but I don't know from this view how far back the object goes. In this case, we need another piece of information. We need either some math that's going to say it, or in this case, we're just going to flip the object and we're going to estimate how far back this object goes. So I'm looking at this and it looks like it goes back, it seems to be fairly wide. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to make this come back a little bit. And so now I have a rectangle that will fit the top view. So if you look, I have the same length. My views have to line up. All right. Now what I need to do is I need to get my right side view. Well, I have enough information right here between these 2 views. I already know the height of the object from the front view, but this top view tells me something about the right side. It tells me the depth of the object. So here's my reflection line. I'm using just a pre-printed piece, and I'm just going to bring the edge of this over till it hits the reflection line. And as soon as it hits the reflection line, right at this point, right there, I am going to bring this straight down, really trying to keep my lines perpendicular, straight, whatever the case may be for what you're sketching. In this case, I'm just doing vertical lines. I'm trying to keep them parallel to the lines that I already have. So what I have right now is 3 rectangles on my object. I have a rectangle that's going to house my front view. I have a rectangle that's going to house my top view. And I have a rectangle that's going to house my right side view. I'm going to kind of clean this up a little so that the rectangles are a little more pronounced. You can see them. Nice and neat. You can see I didn't draw right on the line. I left a little space between the views. And now I'm ready to begin. This is basically like getting the piece of material to cut this part out. Well, if you look at this, it's an L. And this is the front view. Well, it has to fit in this front view location right here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to look and kind of just get a basic proportion of how big this is. And I'm going to, again, use the techniques that we practiced on the other side of this paper and try to get a nice looking L. So if you look, there's the L, here's the L, and you now know that this is gone. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to erase that piece of material right there, that line. I can now learn something about the top view and the right side. If you remember when we did the mirror image of an object, we transferred all points over. Well, look at this point can go straight up to the top view, and this point can go over to the right side view. Everything lines up. Really important that everything lines up. Still using construction lines, light lines. Again, at a point now that I need more information. From this view, I do not know that there's a circle in here. I have no idea from this view. I need the information in the top view. And so we're going to actually flip this object, and here's the hole. Now, we want to put the hole in this area here, so I'm going to kind of estimate where center is. Again, this should sound kind of familiar to you because you've done this on the other side. I'm just going to make this little X here. And very lightly, this then is the center, approximately the center of this almost square right here. I'm going to put a plus sign in here like this, and then I'm going to turn this into the center line, which looks just like this. This X right here that I made, it served its purpose. If you drew it really lightly, you don't even have to erase it. But I think it looks a little just cleaner, easier to see. We now need to put a circle in there. We need to look at the size of the circle because there's no information given from here, so we need this piece of information. So there's a couple things you can do. If you remember from the other side, when we did circles, we took a piece of paper and we marked and we transferred that point around. You can do this. It's totally fine to do something like this. Or if you think you can just put the marks and give a really good estimate of where that circle would be, go ahead and just put several marks on there and then sketch them out. But if your circle looks like an egg, then you might want to go back to this method right here and transfer it around. Once you have enough marks in there, start to sketch your circle. Again, it should look like a circle. And as I look at that doesn't look bad. I've got my center lines, the plus is pretty much in the center of that. So now I can see my circle, but there's something, I know that there's a circle here, but I don't see it from this view, from the front view. Well, anytime I cannot see the circle, but there's something there, or I can't see what's going on, there's information given in another view. So take a look in this top view. I can bring this circle down, the edge of this circle, really lightly. Just like this. And now, because I can't see the circle, I am going to make this what's called a hidden line, which is about 1/8 of an inch dash with a 1/16 space. You don't have to measure it. It's just approximately what I'm looking for. So right there. Now there's more things happening here. When I look at this object in the top view, I do see the circle. I see the circle here. But if you look, there's a square here and a square here. So this part is actually broken up in the top view. So I'm going to try to break this up and get, if I look at this, these all look equal. I'm going to try to get 3 equal sections out of this. And again, it's a sketch, so it may not be exact, but we want to make an effort to keep it in proportion to the shape that we're drawing. So now I see 1, 2, 3, and I see 1, 2, 3 here. So that's right. Next thing I need to do, this circle in the right side view, I do see this line, and I see it right here, but I don't see the circle in here. I don't see the circle, but I know it's there. I know it's there. So this reflection line is going to help me. I'm going to take this reflection line at the edge of the circle, and as soon as the edge of the circle hits the reflection line, I'm going to come straight down. And I know that the circle is in this lower half, so it's now a hidden line. I'm going to do the other edge of the circle, bring it down. It's a hidden line because we don't see the circle in this view. I'm even going to do one more. I'm going to bring the center line over and down as soon as it hits that reflection line, and I'm going to put 1/2 of the center line in like this, showing these two halves. I'm getting close to being done with this object. I need to find, because there's a notch here, and I don't know where the notch is unless I have this piece of information. So again, here's the notch here, or excuse me, here's the shape here. I'm going to transfer it over. As soon as it hits the reflection line, I'm going to bring it down. I'm going to find the mark here, or the point here, bring it over. You can see I'm really concentrating, trying to keep all my lines parallel. That can be a little bit of a struggle. And when you look at this, there's a lot of lines coming down. So I have to figure out, where is this notch? So right here is one of them, right here. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to estimate how far this comes down by looking at this. And I'm going to say, oh, it comes down about halfway between this piece and this. So I'm just going to estimate. And it goes over. And I want to make sure I'm hitting the right line, which is this line. And I'm going to come up. It's this line here. And believe it or not, we are just about done with this object. There are a lot of lines. So what I want to do is I want to darken in. I want to turn my construction lines to visible lines. Everything that's supposed to be there. I'm going to go back and darken in this shape. And you know, I didn't bring down the center line from here, so I want to do that. So I'm pretty close. I'm going to darken in all of these lines. You can see how light they are. If you don't darken them in, the drawing gets very, very confusing. And I'm going to go one step further. I'm going to take my eraser. I'm going to clean up some of these projection lines just so that the view kind of pops. I really want to see the object, not all the lines. So this is where we are right now. And if you look at this, you can see that this is the front view right here. Here you see the top view. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Here's the circle. And if you look at the right side view, here's the notch. The hidden lines are here from each side of the circle coming from the top. We needed all 3 views in order to complete this drawing. This is an orthographic drawing of this object.